All right, hello, welcome. We are a few minutes early, and so always make sure you have the right microphone on and the glasses on. I think I started class with I don't know, I call them my granny glasses. And it reminds me one time I started, I was running a little late, and that's how you know you're going to make a colossal mistake. And I went out on stage with my fluffy pink slippers on. Well, I don't know if they were pink, but they were definitely fluffy. And my assistant was trying to catch me, and I'm like, enough, we're already late, we have to start. And there were like, I don't know, 200 or 300 people in the audience, plus parents and stuff. And this was in Alaska. And I went onto the stage, and I'm like, my name is Aurora. And I started talking, and then I'm like, who's ready to do science? And I slammed down the big propane torch that I had in my hand, and I looked down, and I've got my slippers on. I'm like, well, like there's not a whole lot I can do about it now. So one of the kids had asked in class recently, I think it was math class, if I ever make mistakes, and the answer is yes, of course I have. And I'm older than they are, so of course I've made some big colossal mistakes in my life, which makes really good funny stories during class, which I know a lot of the students really appreciate. And so, yeah, so I think we're at the top of the hour, so we're going to go ahead and start. The students were really upset one time when I had started to take the stories out, just because we had a number of parents say, hey, your videos are too long. And I looked at it, and I realized, no, I'm not talking too long. It's just the stories have been getting longer. So I started editing those out so it would be it looked shorter. And then some of the students came on, a different group said, hey, where'd the stories go? It's like, you can't please everybody. So the stories are in there now, but that batch of videos doesn't have stories in them. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So hello and welcome. This is Aurora with Supercharged Science and Supercharged Math. And I just want to let you know that the only thing being recorded is me. So even if you talk, I won't get it. We'll make it so you can unmute here in a second. But I encourage you to turn on your videos. I love to see your beautiful smiling faces, even if you're in the middle of doing chores or driving or whatever it is. It makes it so I'm just not sitting here talking to myself. So I appreciate that. I am recording just locally on my computer, just the screen of just myself. So you guys are never shared. Same policy with the kids. We never record or share anything with children. I use those recordings as a backup just for audio for myself. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to know what your questions are. So, how was your holiday? Was it good? Here, let me make it so I can see more of you guys. Yeah, it was good. Excellent. Mine was too short. I feel like it was too long in that I missed the kids. There's always like a group that always show up first, so they always show up on the start, and so I've seen them. But I definitely miss being with the kids, and so. Yeah, but then also I went to Europe. My husband gave me the gift of 2 weeks in Europe. I know, right? So I'm not a traveler, so this was only the second time I've ever done something like this. So it was fun. Me and my best friend went, and we had a fantastic time. And whoo, boy, it's good I did this later in life, right? I might have never come back if I'd done it when I was in my 20s. All right, so you guys have your coffee? All right, I got my Powell's mug here. Yep. All right, so here we go. Welcome to the Parent Chat. My name is Aurora. So glad to see you. Turn on your video so I can see your beautiful smiling faces, and so I'm not quite so alone here. What I would love to know is what's been working with the program. And so we're going to talk about homeschooling, parenting, math, science. I'll give you a quick tour. We have a brand new website coming. I was going to give you a little preview of that. Let you know what my plans are for the rest of the year for both math and science, and also give you a sneak peek to summer and fall. So we got a lot to cover. What I want to know from you, what is working well? Stick it in the chat right now. I can continue to do more of that. And then also let me know what your current struggles are, what your current challenges are, and I will see if I can answer as many of those. Usually I get a lot more of the challenges and struggles than I do of, hey, what's going well? So don't forget to tell me like what's working. let's celebrate that too, because kids are amazing. So my teen, not my teen, 19 and 22. Can you believe it? I don't feel like I'm old enough to have two in college. I have 4 kids, just so you know. I've got a 19 and 22-year-old. They are both doing amazing. And this is my first year. I've got a girl in high school, and I also have one boy in middle school. So I'm in it. I'm a working parent. I understand. Mom of four. I understand. Like, nobody can come over because my house is always a constant disaster. But you know what? People come over to see me, not the house. So, and yeah, bringing up kids is a village effort. So, just real quick, in case you're new, I got my start teaching at Cal Poly State University. I taught mechanical engineering for 9 years, I want to say, ish, somewhere in there. As soon as I had kid number 2, I knew I had to give something up. So that was it. And then I started teaching to the local high schools, then the middle schools, the elementary schools, just helping them out with their math and science. And then I started teaching local, and now it's just worldwide. So that was my life in 30 years compressed into 3 sentences. So, all right, so we are a local mom and pop type of publishing company. I'm the one who makes all the curriculum and teaches a lot of it, and my husband is behind the scenes. I think he's on the chat right now. And he helps make sure people know that we're out there. So if you have been enjoying and loving Supercharged Science and Supercharged Math, let your friends know. So this is one of the ways that the word gets out there, so I can spend more time with your kids as well. So sharing us with your friends and people that you think that can benefit from this really helps us out. So I can spend more time with your kids teaching and doing the things that are super fun. Okay, so a lot of questions. Gave you enough time hopefully for questions. A lot of questions. Oliver is doing classes. Oliver is still on break. As you know, he is, or may not know, he is a microbiologist by trade. That's how he got his start in his career. He made a career shift, and now he's a high school biology teacher in Austria. So he is still on break. He is going to let me know his schedule very, very soon, and then we will post those dates. I already gave him the dates that I want him to teach, but he has to check in with his school, make sure he can still teach. The benefit of having an international team of teachers is that they are available to teach even though they have a regular time job. So that's one of the reasons that we really, and Oliver's just fun. I don't know if you remember the eyebrow lesson, but that's got to be one of my all-time favorites. When the kids were asking about, he was looking at a hair from his head, and so somebody had asked, yes, but what about other parts of the body? And he's like, let's do it. So he started doing the eyebrows. I think he got one from like a cheek, and he got like an arm hair, and he got anyway. So he kept it, PG, but still, it was very fun to see a student, to see a teacher really interact that way. Okay, so let's see. So Oliver does have lessons. All right, so lots and lots of questions are coming in. Excellent. We love your stories. You even retell them. I've been asked to do superchargedsciencestories.com. So let's just keep them to the classes, though. They're just for people that are in here. Okay, mistakes is how we learn. Yes. Thankfully, you understand that. I spent a lot of time educating parents that it's okay for your kids to make mistakes within the boundaries, right? You don't want them playing soccer in the street and realizing that's a mistake, right? So within the boundaries, yes, this is how we allow learning to learn. Okay, how was my trip? Amazing. Any country that has chocolate for breakfast, I was telling the kids were like, oh, it's a different kind of chocolate, as you know. It's not the, super sweet stuff. It was chocolate croissants for, oh my. I just get chills thinking about it. It was amazing. Can we all go back? I would love it. Can we all just do that? We'll just leave the kids here with the dads or moms or whoever, let's just all go. Okay, let's see. Percent for grade 6 means really long. Geometry doesn't start until, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. It starts with an E. Is it Eowyn? Oh, I'm sorry, I probably really butchered that. I'm so sorry. So the idea is that for the math program, I'll show you on the program. What we do is we're doing 7 months of fractions, decimals, and percent, and then we're saving the last 2 months for geometry. And so that's the main idea. So if it's not coming across, that was my intent. And so, yes, geometry starts right before summer break. And so we're going to be doing some extra things. But again, that's just the live class schedule. It's a self-paced program, so you go at your own pace. And we'll dive into that soon. I like how you make learning fun so kids want to come back. I really enjoyed the live classes, even though we watched the replays. Excellent. Struggling with motivation with my kids. Aren't we all? I'll give you some tips on that. Okay, keep that one in your hat. Let's see. My kids enjoy your teaching. Okay, so your kids have a preference for one teacher over the other. That's why we have a load of teachers. And that's going to happen in college, right? And even in high school, your kids will have favorites. My daughter's got one teacher that is not fair to her at all. And so she actually, it got so bad that it was a learning experience. She went up to, she made an appointment with the vice principal, and she explained the situation. The vice principal heard her, acknowledged her, and said, you know what? We have to resolve this. And it was a really great experience for her. So it's a little tangent there. But yeah, so I understand about having favorites and so forth. And you can do some of that when they're in their elementary school, but especially when they start to get into middle and high school, I would encourage to try different teachers, because that's the way the world is. You're not always going to be able to work with people that you like, right? And so, or people that you understand immediately. And that's where the growth happens, to be able to have that awareness, like, hey, this person's different, right? You all know that. So just because we work with people. So I would encourage that as well. So if your kids are more challenged, if it's a language thing, somebody had mentioned that, I think it was Oliver has he does have an accent. So you can always hit closed captioning, and that way they have the words at the bottom, in addition to seeing the demonstrations he's doing. And you can also watch the replay, so you can pause it and keep it going. All right, let's see, questions. More questions. Okay, so yes, everybody has a different teaching style. Some people really like my teaching style. It's fast, it's furious, it's full of fun, and things are constantly happening. Some kids really don't. I'm too much for them to handle, and they prefer Doug, or they prefer Oliver, or they prefer Brian, and that's fine. Totally fine. And so you can work with that. And so that's why we have lots of teachers, so you can pick. It's not just me. Okay, great. Small exercises at the start might be helpful. To get motivation going, yes. So, okay, that was one of my questions. The math program, now those of you who are enrolled in math, we spend the first 5 to 6 minutes reviewing. How is that going? You can just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, those of you who are, yeah, review seems to be really, so I take some of what we just covered for the past couple of weeks, we'll review it really quick, and then continue with the day's lesson. So yeah, okay, good. Some of the other questions that came in from email, let me grab those really quick. Okay, all right, so these are bigger topics. One of them is, I'm a working parent, how do I balance it all? Another one was, I'm teaching multiple kids, and let's see, what's the other one? Teaching multiple kids, and then the other one is, it's similar to motivation. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about. Ready? So here we go. And I want to hear from you as well. So I'll make it so you guys can unmute yourself and just hear. Let's see. Yes, review is always good. Yes, I appreciate this. So am I recording this? Yes, I'm just doing a small little local recording of just my camera, of just me. You all are not going to be recorded, and you're going to be thrown in the trash. I mean that nicely. Okay. Okay, how do you keep your kids motivated? Good question. So one of the things to think about is if I want to influence somebody, or if I want to, I have an expectation that I think a student should be excited about this, and they're clearly not. So a couple of ideas. Number one, the easiest way to get kids motivated is to find out what is already motivating to them, because they're already wired for something, and then use that to bring it over to this other area. For example, suppose you've got a kid who's super excited about basketball, but they can't stand doing math or science. All right, so they love sports, right? So you, with your Scooby ears and your great detection skills, is that the right word? Investigative skills? There we go. So you might just have a conversation, and don't make it anything too, where they feel like they're on the spot, but just kind of, when they're in a good mood and you're in a good mood, you can start to ask them, like, hey, so I noticed you really enjoy basketball. Yeah. Well, ask them about that. Like, what specifically do you like so much about it? And then if you've got a suspicious kid, they're going to go, why? You're like, I'm just curious. I'm interested in you, right? So all right. So they might say, you know what? I love being with my friends. I love just never knowing what's happening. It's so fun. I love just being with the team, and there's no pressure. Okay, they've just told you the recipe of things that their preferred method of experiencing things, for example, of communication, of learning. So what did we just learn? So I just made that up, by the way. But I have had this conversation with kids. So they've told you they love variety, right? They've also told you they love connecting with others. They never know what's going to happen. They love just not feeling pressured. Okay, so we have these things. So if you're using a program that is the same thing every day, there's no variety in there, right? So of course they're going to get bored. Or if they are working by themselves and there's no interaction with other kids or even with you, it's not going to be that interesting already. Are you seeing this? So you need to kind of dig down, and usually you don't have to dig very much, and just really look and ask. You can even just observe. And you can ask them, and find out what it is that's most important to them. Where do they get their aha moments? Where do they get their juice from? What really is exciting to them? And then when you go to other arenas, take a look at that and say, okay, so I need a program that it maybe hands-on is better because that's going to keep them engaged. Working with a team might be better. Joining a local co-op might be great. Or just inviting the kids from down the street and doing some science together twice a week. I mean, I always wanted to be my husband will tell you this. I always wanted to be the house where everybody came. That's why I have 3 refrigerators, 2 of them in the garage, and I don't use them because the kids put snacks there. I always wanted to be the one house where everybody would come to and congregate, because that just seemed like a lot of fun to me. Other parents are like, they were like, please take my children. There are kids that spend more time at our house than they do anywhere else, than they do at their houses, which is great because we're a safe environment. I have robot fields in my garage, and that's the price I pay for that. But that's so. All right, I'm sorry, I'm sidetracked. Can you tell I've already had a whole coffee? So getting kids to motivated about things, that's one thing. Finding out what is already interesting and exciting to them, and then finding a match because there's a lot of different options that you have. Okay, that's thought number 1. Thought number 2, they've got to have some skin in the game. So kids are more, for example, I had a kid who didn't like to eat. So they just weren't interested, right? There's so many more interesting things to do than eating, for example. And I knew if you make eating a power struggle when they're toddlers and when they're young, it's going to carry throughout. It's a slippery slope, right? So instead, I came around and I said, you know what? I'm going to teach you how to cook. What would you like to make? Now all of a sudden the kid's interested, right? And within 10 minutes, that kid was eating oatmeal. And I remember just kind of observing and not saying, ha, I told you so. I knew I'd get you to eat, because you'll just, shoot yourself in the foot if you do that. But having them take ownership, I made this, I'm invested in this, this is something I want to do. So carry that over to education. So having your kids grade their own work and if you've got kids that cheat or don't necessarily do this in the most honest way, you have to handle that today and now. Okay, so I'll just tell you flat out, there's no way to sugarcoat that. You need to grade with them and show them how it's done. Okay, and so there's another way to get around the cheating line thing, and I'll mention that in a second. All right, so having them grade their own work, and celebrate their success. And so instead of circling the 9 that they got wrong, circle the 15 they got right. And you're like, you know what? That's awesome. That's fantastic. And just focus on that. And you're like, yeah, fix the 9. That's great. And don't pay a lot of attention to that. And then the next day, you're going to do the same thing. So every day they get into the habit of grading their own work. And because now they're interested, like, oh, you know what? I wonder how I did today. Oh, I didn't do as well as I did yesterday. That's okay. There's still tomorrow. So we're teaching them resilience. We're teaching them determination. We're teaching them that you got to stack your successes. It just isn't one great, big, huge success. Every overnight success is 20 years in the making. So we're teaching them that consistent daily actions is what we're after, and we're rewarding that daily action. How am I doing so far? Is this answering some questions? Okay, I see smiles, so that's good. Okay, okay. So the easiest way I found, because I've had kids that went through all of this, lying, cheating, stealing from stores when they were like 6 years old, right? All kids try it. Well, not all. Most kids try it. And so how do you handle this? Is actually one of the best ways is board games, because it's really easy to cheat on board games, isn't it? So I would make them the banker, and then I would catch them in the moment. I'm like, you know what? I don't play games with kids who cheat. I'd stand up and walk away. So that's one way you can handle it initially, and that way you want kids to make mistakes under your roof. You want kids to blow it completely. You want them to blow. just make all the mistakes while you can still have a conversation with them about it. And while they can still feel like they can come to you like, oh man, I blew it. You don't want your kid running from you. You want them coming towards you. Okay, and there's other ways. If you're interested, pick up a Love and Logic book. It's called Love and Logic Magic. And so it's got some step-by-step instructions on how to deal with behavior like that. And the idea is you got to catch it in the moment, and you got to be consistent about it. Okay. I love the one about picking up their stuff and cleaning up their room. You guys want this one? Grab a pencil. It's the best one line you're ever going to write, you're ever going to have. You ready? So the last thing about motivation I'm going to share before we move on is being an awesome role model. There is no better place than to do this than in front of your kids. Your kids are watching you 24/7, whether you like it or not. And how we behave and act is what they're modeling. And it may not come out until they get older, right? You ever find yourself going, man, my parents used to do that. Like, where'd that come from? It's because they were role modeling. So one of the greatest ways you can role model is to show kids how you take outstanding care of yourself. And that means when they do behaviors that would make your brain go, I didn't even see that one coming, right? I didn't even know I needed a rule for that, right? So that you're calm and you show them how do you handle stuff when it goes sideways and backwards and inside out. And I do this by telling kids what I will do. I won't tell kids what to do. And so an easy way to describe this is maybe by example. So I had a kid who didn't like to buckle their seatbelt. See, I've had it all, right? So we get in the car, and obviously that's illegal, right? So I knew I had to handle this right off the bat. So we would get in the car, and when this one happened, the kid was very young, so I think maybe 3 or 4. Just didn't want to, so the car seat thing, and they would push it, and so I would push a pedal, but I'd push the brake pedal, and I'm like, oh look, the car stopped working. It doesn't work. Oh, the car only works when the seatbelts are gone. I guess I'm not driving today, and I'd put it in park and I'd leave. Well, I mean, in my house. And so the kid would be like, oh, right? So as the kids got older, you can't pull this anymore. So as the kids, when they got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay. So now I've got 2 boys, and they're arguing in the back seat. So I can't do the gas pedal doesn't work when there's fighting in the car. I can't do that, right? They know. So what I do instead is I wait until it starts to get heated. And I live in a really small town, so I can do this. So please use your wits about you when you do this. So I pulled into an ice cream store. Now again, small town, it had 3 parking spaces. That's how small of a town I have. We know each other here, right? So I pull up to the one right in front, walk 5 feet, and go in the front door. My kids are like, why are we stopping? I come out with the world's biggest ice cream, and I sit on the hood. And by the way, I brought a book. So I'm reading, and my kids are like, where's mine, right? And so the doors are opening, like, oh, I said, I don't drive when I'm stressed. Noise in the car makes me stressed. I'm not a safe driver, which is true. I said, I'm taking care of myself. I'm going to drive when it's nice and quiet in the car. And I take my time. I didn't tell my kids a thing. I didn't say, quiet, we're going to turn around. I didn't say any of that. I'm allowing thinking to happen on their part. I'm allowing them to take responsibility for the issue and to solve it. You have never heard kids say, shh, quiet, wait, she's good. Oh, she's doing it again. And all I would have to do after that is I'm like, I'm feeling like an ice cream. All of a sudden, you'd never heard kids be quiet so fast in the car in your life, right? So what am I doing? I'm modeling how I take care of myself. I don't drive when I'm stressed. I also get the benefit of an ice cream, or you can make it a coffee or whatever, right? So I'm setting things up in advance so kids can do the thinking, and there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no yelling. And so, yeah, does that help? Anyway, so parent stories. Okay. All right, so let's get back to math and science because I know we're getting there. My kids are, let's see, review is good. Let's see here, other things we can do. Okay. My child she gets frustrated and she says there's a lot of questions, or if she gets a few wrong, she gets really upset. Do you have any pointers? She doesn't have time to work on Your math. Catherine, maybe a little bit more would be good. I'm not quite sure I understand. She doesn't have time to work on the math program. So you don't want to overwhelm your kids, right? Just focus on the things that are most important. Okay, so let's take a look at some other questions. All right, math and websites. Okay. So first of all, if your kids get overwhelmed, it's really easy nowadays because we're inundated by way more than we ever have, right? Parents too. So just part of it is a mindset, which is, hey, I need to do it all. And then now all is coming at me and I can't handle that. We're not built for that. So teaching your kids how to prioritize, how to chunk things down, how to know what your goal is before you even go to, say, you can do the example of the grocery store. You ever gone grocery shopping when you're absolutely starving and you're not sure what to make for dinner? We all have, right? Okay, so how does that feel? Overwhelming, right? How many things does a grocery store have? Thousands. I should look that up. Just tens of thousands. Let's just say it's tens of thousands. Tons of things, right? All right, so if you don't know what you're making or what's going to be for dinner, how successful are you? You're not even setting yourself up for success, right? You're going to buy all kinds of things you don't need, don't have, maybe even throw out later or aren't healthy and good for your family. All right, so same thing. If I go in there with, I already know I'm going to make these 3 things this week and these are the ingredients I need, and I hit the store, my chances of hitting that target, hitting the goal, and having everything I need when I walk out of there is much higher. So you can think of it this way. So if your kid is overwhelmed by, say, the assignments to do, it's like walking to the grocery store with no plan. So instead, framing it as, you know what, I need you to work on math for 20 minutes today. You get to decide what you want to do. 10 minutes of maybe instruction with Aurora, hit the pause button, and then 10 minutes of a homework assignment. That's great. You get to pick. Just keep it short, simple, sweet, knowing that it's not always going to be this way. Maybe in 2 or 3 months down the road, they're going to watch more and then do a bigger assignment. So you can tailor it, cater it to wherever they're at right now. And so if it's time that you're going for, they're not consistently doing math for a certain amount of time, you could do it that way. Or you can simply, if it's the sheer volume of information coming at them, something else you can do is say, you know what, this is the structure of what we're going to do. You watch Aurora for 20 minutes, and then you take a pause and you go run around for 10 minutes. Then you're going to come back and it's got a little bit of time to settle. And now you're going to come and work on these homework assignments. Okay. And I've already picked them out for you. I want you to complete workbook pages 1 to 3, and that's it. And you only give them pages 1 to 3. Don't give them the whole workbook. Somebody is asking about the multiplication table, still isn't memorized. I'm in kids in 7th grade. Print it out, have it as a reference sheet, and move on, right? So we have a certain amount of time to master a skill. If it's not mastered, in this case with multiplication table, print it out. It can be a reference sheet, and then pretty soon they're going to memorize it because they're using it. If my student is stuck on a concept, okay. So if you've hit the concept over and over, I want you to stop. You're going to move to a different area of math. So if they're doing, say, for example, decimals, it's not making sense, and they've honestly given it a good try. There's something there that's not quite clicking yet, and we're going to pause. We're going to move to geometry, or do something totally different, right? You could even start the probability section, or do one of the labs. We have tons of labs, right? Pick one of those. The idea is it will take decimal multiplication, say, put it on the back burner, which is fine because often we have to work on multiple things simultaneously. And sometimes taking the thing that we're working on off the hot seat, like haven't you ever gotten a great idea if you just get up and go for a walk and you're like trying to solve this, you can't solve this, and you go for a walk and you're like, I got it! That's what we're doing. We're allowing our brain the space it needs to kind of wrestle with the problem in the back of our mind. And then I can't tell you how many times we'll hear students say, oh, wait, hang on. And they'll go back and they're like, oh, I get it. Oh, it's okay. So we're going to hit these math concepts from many different angles. And for some reason, just that approach isn't working. That's okay. There's lots and lots of ways to approach math problems. Okay, so I hope that I answered that question. How to find recordings. Okay. Let's see, somebody spent $200 at Costco when they were really hungry at dinner time. I'm coming to your house. There was probably ice cream in there. Okay, so how to find things on the web. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the one of the websites. Okay, so let's pick the newer one. There we go. So how do I find something on the websites? Okay, so let's take a quick tour of the math website. So if you're brand new, there is a math site tour. Please do take a look at that. It's not too long. All right, you want to log in, and then once you log in, there are two buttons up here, grades 4 to 6, grades 7 and 8. Okay, so imagine you missed a class and you want to do the live classes, but you missed a class. Okay, so when you click on the schedules, that takes you to the live class schedules. Participating live in our math program is not required. If you're doing it live, you will find the live class schedule. And how do you join the class? You click the button that says click to join live class. So it's pretty easy. So then say you're in 4th grade. And you don't have to be in 4th grade. I just put that there because that's usually when fractions are introduced. Grades 4, 5, and 6 all work through fractions. Okay, so we're going to different sessions, and you'll see the date and the time. So here's the one we did on Monday. You'll see the date. It matches up with week 13, and this will take you straight to the day where that recording is. Okay, and then we have that for grades 4, 5, and 6. So again, this is the live class schedule, not required to go live. So if you click on something that hasn't happened yet, it'll still have the homework assignment, but there won't be a teacher lesson yet. Okay, by the end of the year, all of these will have teacher lessons. Okay, so the main idea with the program is your kid watches a teacher-led math lesson, and then they work on their work. And if they get stuck, there are step-by-step instructional videos that walks them through every lesson. Okay, so that's in a nutshell. If you want to go through at your own pace, all you do is you click the word courses up here, courses, and then you pick the course you'd like to do. Fractions, decimals, percent. We also have geometry and algebra down here. These are middle school level. And mini math courses, these are small. They don't take up an entire year. Usually, I want to say about 2 months, maybe 4 months, depending on how fast you go through them. Everything from geometry to probability, statistics, stuff that teachers in a regular school class environment would just stuff in periodically, right? When they have a little bit of space and time. So those are mini math courses. Okay, so say we're going to do decimals. Okay, so say your student is starting with us, you've just joined us, you know your student is kind of at the decimal level, but you're not quite sure where. What you'll do is you'll download the daily assignment sheet and the teaching schedule. Okay, all right, so these are the assignments, let's see if you can read, that we're going to be doing, broken down for week 1. This is the assignment for day 1. Week 2, week 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So there's 4 days. So you have the 5th day as a catch-up day. Okay, we do math daily, 4 days a week, and then we move on to week 2, day 1. So then we have 4 days worth of content, and then we have 4 more days. So it walks them through step by step, and this is the tracker. So after every assignment, they're going to put in how many points they earned, and then keep a running total and give you their average, which is, hey, a math assignment. Okay, so this is a daily tracker. It shows you step by step what students should be doing. Okay, and then this is the live schedule that's printed out. Now, you don't have to follow live. Remember, this is just showing you on a weekly basis what are the assignments. So it's taken this really big daily tracker, compressing it, and now this is workbook pages 1 to 13. Finish those during week 1. Okay, and so that's what the live class, this is how you can use it. Okay, and then what you do is you'll go to one of these and you'll click on a lesson, and just to kind of show you what they look like in case you're new, the teacher lesson, if there is one, there's not one for every day, because once your teacher there's I think 2 to 3 a week, and so there was 1 or 2 lessons every week that doesn't have a teacher lesson because your kid just needs to do their assignment. So what they're going to do is watch the teacher lesson, and if there's a handout, you'll find it up here. Okay, and this is me usually, or Doug, going step by step. Now here we're running a lemonade stand. And then this is the assignment, and so they're going to download their assignment, and then the answer key is always at the bottom if it's not behind the assignment. Okay, and the assignment looks like this, and it's 2 pages, and that's it. They'll finish it. If they get stuck, then that's what this video is for. It's me working through the actual assignment step by step, so they can see where they got stuck, and then the answer key they can check there. Okay, so and then when they're done, they move on to the next lesson. Okay, so that's how that works. And then same is for the upper level. And so we have algebra, and then we also have geometry. When students finish our program, they are ready for Algebra 2 at the high school level. Okay, so how is that for a quick little tour of the math program? It's just like attending a regular class. And honestly, we use the university model. So teacher delivers a lesson, your kids take notes, they do the homework assignment, they repeat, they come back, take more notes, do the homework assignment. And so we are walking them through every step of that. So when they get to college, there's no surprises. Or when they get to high school, this is exactly how it goes. Yeah, okay, good. Some videos say workbook numbers. Yes, okay. Oh, I meant to tell you that. So there are a series of workbooks, and here, I'll show you here. Do you see how it says, let's see. All right, you see how it says decimals workbook number 1? Okay, so the workbooks are about 120 to 150 pages each. So they've been broken down into 30 to 40 page each sections. So there's workbook 1, 2, 3, 4 for decimals, but you put them all together and you get the whole thing. So workbook number 1 is just the first 30 to 40 pages. And then you'll see when we go into workbook 2, there'll be a link for it. Workbook 2 is, here we go, decimals workbook 2. Oops, page is 33, so we're already in workbook 2. There it is, decimals workbook 2. So the first time it's introduced, it'll be here. And then when you open it up, you'll see it's here. So if you've joined us and you're not sure what level your student is at, what you'll do is you'll download the workbook for that section, go to the last 2 pages, and there is a review and a test. Okay, so you can see it here. We call it a review, sometimes it's called a test. Okay, and then just complete the last 2 pages. If your student gets most of these right, like almost all of them, and doesn't hesitate and it's comfortable and they're ready to move on, you can test out of that workbook. So this is another way to tell kind of where they are in the program. So you'll download the assignment tracker, look for the workbooks, and then there are 4 of them. In percent, there's only 3. Okay, good question. All right, how do I match the session numbers and lesson numbers with workbook videos? Okay, so that's done with the tracker here. Everything is laid out for week number, day number, and the assignment, okay? And the sessions, you can see here. Here, we'll go to courses. So everything's laid out nice and easy. So sometimes the tricky part can be like, where do I start if I'm starting midway through a program? You have to wiggle a little bit to figure it out. So, for example, for fractions, here we'll go to fractions. Has this ever happened to you? It like just doesn't load properly and it looks very scary. Okay, get it to reload here. There we go. Okay, do you see where it says session 1 and it says what we're going to cover, and then you expand that and it tells you the weeks that it covers, and then session 2, multiplying fractions, and then weeks 5 through 8, and then session 3. Yeah, you see all of that. So everything's broken down and it matches exactly with your assignment tracker, and also this. It'll tell you session 1 covers week 1 to 4. These are the assignments. You see, so everything's laid out. All of these documents you get from you go to courses, and then there are these buttons here. These are the workbooks and the answer keys, teaching schedule, and the assignment. And just for the lower grades, 4, 5, and 6, fractions, decimals, percent, you can click to order, and this is connected to a print-on-demand service. So if you don't want to print them out, but you want the workbooks to come to you, you can do that. Okay, and those are for you at cost. We don't take a bite of that. So yes, and I'm the one who wrote the workbooks. So okay, so how's that for math? Are we doing mostly pretty good? Can you share the link for the tracker? So all you need to do, so the trackers are different. We have five different trackers. So just go to courses, scroll down, and it says download daily assignment sheet. That's the tracker. Good. Okay, let's see. How do we buy the printed workbooks? Oh yeah, they're right under where it says download all workbooks. We're not done with we're still adding content for algebra and geometry for the upper level. So those are not yet available just because I'm still writing for them. So there's more this year. Okay. So let's see here. One-time science. Okay, so science questions. Have you gotten the website to work for multiple students? So we tried, and then the entire menu structure disappeared. So we're still working on that. So hello, technology. Yes, okay. Can we still log into the program even if we're not a member? So it's like a gym membership. You have access to the program as long as you are enrolled. So you can use the equipment, you can, use the treadmills and all the stuff we have available as long as you're a current member of the program. We don't offer lifetime memberships at this time. So yes. Let's see, how do we best use the diamond? Okay, let's do that with science. Oh, okay, so questions about math. We are adding, so I had mentioned we're adding more content to the high school level, or we don't have a high school, to grades 7, 8. So what that means is what we currently have available for the upper level is Algebra 1, and it is a full Algebra 1 class plus a third of Algebra 2. So there's a nice fat overlap between Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 when your kid starts Algebra 2. All right, so that is currently up. I'm still adding a little bit more content to algebra that I've always meant to do. The second thing I want to add, drum roll please, dun, da, 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 we are only 2 topics short of geometry being a full-blown high school complete curriculum. So guess what? We're doing them this year. So we will be teaching the last missing pieces. So technically it's not an 8th grade geometry course now, it's a high school geometry course. And that's sessions 9 and 10 are going to be completed. Right now there's no links or anything, we're still writing those. We are going to deliver those this spring. So you could use this with high school. If you have a high schooler who's in Algebra 1 and then going to do geometry, you could use it there. So, yay, right? So we're going to finish that up. So it will be a full-blown high school geometry course. And actually it will go above and beyond because there are 7 lab projects included. All right, so how are we doing there? We're about to shift gears to science because there's a lot of science questions that came in. How are we doing for math? Are we doing good? If you have any last minute math questions, put them in and I will do my best to answer them. The new website is mathlearningspace.com. That's correct. The original one is math.sciencelearningspace2.com. So this is the original one where I had 50 videos on a page. This one is still being maintained. It is still open. You can still use it. So the new recordings this year, I didn't add because there's already way too many. I mean, look at this. There's way too many videos on one page. So the new live recordings are on the new website only, but other than that, the content's identical. There's no difference. Okay, so either format is fine. The original website will continue to be maintained. Good question. Okay, so mathlearningspace.com. Yes, so here, I'll put it in the chat so y'all have it. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to make it so you guys could talk to each other, and that way, if you have resources or things to share. I have to change all my, there we go. Now you guys can talk to each other. There we go. So now be nice to each other. So if you have resources you found or things that you wanted to share with the group, you can do that. Okay, so, and I forgot to make it so you can chat with me. I'm so sorry. See, I am such a chatterbox. There we go. So if you would like to ask a question personally, you're welcome to. Again, you're not being recorded, so. But if you would like to, you can. You can interrupt me. This is your time. I'm about to move over to the science site. So while I do that, if you want to ask anything, please do. Let's see here. All right. Okay. You're going to go play pickleball. Awesome. I never learned how to play. I know there's a lot of people that enjoy it. Okay. You need help with the navigation. Okay, so if you can send me an email with your questions, then I can send you direct links and screenshots to things. Maybe that would be helpful. Okay. Will there be a catalog for last year's classes? Math or science, Jason? Which one are you interested in? Okay. Mini math courses. Okay, so the question was, what's in the mini math courses. So if you just click on it, you'll be able to see, and I've labeled the mini math courses as to when they should be completed by. So it gives you a way to incorporate that. And by the way, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you, because you guys are taking such good care of your kids by spending the time that you need. You're not just plopping them in front of a computer and all size fits one size fits all. There we go, one size fits all. And just saying, yeah, you can do your English and your history and your science and all of that stuff all in one. It's not like that. So I just want to say thank you for taking the time that is needed to really do this well. And so I'm here to support you. Absolutely. Okay. Here we go, mini math courses. So you click on courses and then click on the words mini math courses, scroll down, and you see where it says grades 4 to 6. This is if your kid needs some help with arithmetic. This is the geometry course we're gonna do together later in the year. Pre-algebra, we moved to the upper level, but we kept this here so because it was there in the original site. But it says we've moved this into the algebra course. So when you start Algebra 1, it actually starts with the pre-algebra course, so it's already incorporated. We want you to do a lower level review before you move into the upper level. This is all laid out here. So there are 10 sessions that walk you through everything your 6th grader needs to know before they move into middle school math. So this is a good thing to do over the summer. Grades 7 and 8, you can do probability and statistics as it fits in your schedule. The courses themselves are not very long. I would say between 4 to 8 weeks is all you need. And then once you're ready for high school, please complete the upper level review. Again, 10 sessions working through everything your 8th grader needs to know before they move into high school. And this is new, grades 7 to 8 trigonometry. We're going to build this out a little bit later this year. This is an advanced area of geometry that we're going to be working on. All right, does that help? Okay, let's move on to science. We have enough time. Okay, so this is where I just love science, right? I know I'm a math nerd, but really math is kind of pointless unless you use it for something. Well, I shouldn't say that. I probably got somebody offended. I'm sorry. But I like using things. As soon as I see something, my brain is going, how can I use this? How can I use this? Oh, well, let's build a rocket. Oh, let's build a laser light show, right? So this is where it's at for me. So for Supercharged Science, if you're new, there are over 3,600 experiments on this website, which is way too much for anybody in their right mind to do. All right, so how do you go through this program? All right, so an easy way to get started. So it's a hands-on, video-based, STEM-based science learning program. And the easiest way, and the way 70% of our users do it, is they go through by grade level. So they'll click on grade level, and this is just standard grade level. So if you've got a 3rd or 4th grader and they've done a little science, they should be fine. If they've done no science, you might want to backtrack a little bit. If they've done a ton of science, then you want to go through by topic. Okay, so what you're going to do is say you've got a 4th grader and you click on 4th grade, and then you get to decide, well, there's me demonstrating what this page is about. You get to decide which one of the subjects you want to start with. You can go in any order. And when, say for example, you want to start with electricity, you'll expand this out and it walks you step by step. This is the teacher lesson, these are the experiments. Teacher lesson, experiments. Teacher lesson, these are the experiments. And it even says, don't do them all, just choose, 2 or 4 based on the materials you have available. So if you're teaching multiple kids and they're all at different levels, you got a 2nd grader, you got a 5th grader, you got an 8th grader. I know, me too. So the easiest way is to go through by subject. So if you look through those and you see they're all doing some kind of biology or some kind of life science, then the materials will be similar. And they can all start with the teacher lessons for each one. And there'll be some overlap there, and meaning that they might have the same teacher lesson just to get them started, but the experiments will be more complex the older the students are. Okay, and so the younger students will finish their work first, and then the second group of students, maybe the 5th grader, and then the 8th grader will be working much more. So that's an easier way to do it. And then the older students can also help the younger students if they have trouble with their experiments because they've already done them. But for sanity's sake, that'll help you. Okay, so that's one way to go through the program. If you're, and I should mention the experiments. Say, for example, you picked this one. Here, we'll just pick one. Conduct let's see, basic circuits. Okay. So what you'll find is a little bit of a write-up. These are all the experiments on the side. These are the materials you'll need: a head of hair, a balloon, a meter stick, a spoon. So simple, everyday stuff. Here's me demonstrating the experiment, and you can download a worksheet exercise and the exercise questions based on the experiment. So everything's built in. The information on what it is we're learning about, what the concept is, why we care, how to do the experiment, how do I do the experiment with regular everyday stuff, and then the exercise questions that I usually used to ask around the dinner table. I would just pull these out and be like, okay, tell me about that. Why do you think that happened? Or that doesn't make any sense. Explain that to me more. So the exercise questions are at the back of this downloadable student worksheet, and we always include the answer key as well. And if there's labs to do, we'll include data sheets and so forth. But you'll find those with the experiments. Okay, so that's typically what that looks like. And there's lots and lots of experiments. So usually parents will call in because they're overwhelmed. They're like, "What? I don't even know where to start." So I would just start with grade level, pick a subject, and then follow the instructions. So watch this video and choose 2 or 3 that you're interested in: solar cookies or batteries or something like that. Then keep going. And so it makes it very easy just to step through the program. Okay. If your kid loves live classes, they're the ones who every time they hear Aurora talking, they drop everything what they're doing and they come running over for a live class. Okay, so if that's you, you're going to click on live classes. This is also a great way to start if you're brand new to the program. So because I do a lot of demonstrating during the live class. Okay, so on Monday there was some confusion about, I don't know how to join the live class. So you click the red button and that gets you on the class. Okay, try to make it simple. But I think people were using the Zoom link, they had copied it, and so we change the Zoom links every so often for student safety. So always come here if you need it. And then the schedule of what we're teaching, you can download that. It's a PDF file. Okay, and then you'll expand these depending on whose class you're in. And then if you want to know, well, what are you teaching when? We have a calendar, and it tells you exactly what we're teaching. So I teach Mondays. Brian does electronics Tuesday and Wednesday, and then coding classes are Thursday, Friday. Okay, and then Oliver's classes are sprinkled throughout. Okay, and so if you want to know my schedule, you'll just expand it, and it has the worksheet that goes with the class, and then the class itself. And the recording you find by clicking this button here. So we'll do that. So if you missed the class, you'll just expand this, and then it'll take you to a page, and it has the class. This is what we did on Monday. You can see here. Play. There we go. There I am. My microphone kept sliding the entire time, so that was a little annoying. But and then during the class, the kids also have opportunities to do experiments and then ask me tons of questions. So I usually will stay on later. After the class, I demonstrate where to find stuff on the website. You can see that here. So students get their questions like, well, I don't know where to find the worksheet. So I will take time to make sure they understand where everything is. Okay, and then with every live class, there is an 8 to 10 page downloadable student worksheet. It will tell you what we're studying, what the concepts are. It'll tell you the materials you need. Now wait, don't freak out. Please do not freak out. Because look, everything with a star after it is something we've used already. So how this works is, in the beginning, there's a shoebox or just a box they're using, and they're putting a few things in. The next week, they're adding rubber bands, they're adding scissors. The next week, they're adding tape, they're adding cardboard tubes. So they're adding every single week, and they're reusing the things over and over. And after they're done with their project, they tear it apart, and we reuse the batteries, the motors, the wires, all that stuff. So notice how many things have stars. So we're reusing these things over and over. Okay, and so these are the materials you need to do these experiments. And so if you only have like 5 things, that will determine the experiments you're going to do. And I think these 4 don't really use any experiments other than, I think, a pencil. So we try to keep it so at least half of them are super easy to get. Because I know how frustrating it is when you start to do an experiment, you're like, oh, I don't have the stuff. So we've made that. And also students that have been with us a while, they want to do more complex experiments. So that's usually the last one listed as the more complicated one. And then when you click on these, they take you straight to the experiment itself, like the hydraulic pneumatic earth mover. This is the experiment for it. And you can see it here. And here's the step-by-step instructional video. So everything is laid out nice and easy. Okay. All right, so we're not freaking out, right? For the materialist. So you're looking at January, so we've got 3 months of, so September, October, November of materials that are in here that I can pull from. During the lesson, if you have a note taker type of kid, this is where they take notes. Here's a strategy. If your kid's overwhelmed and doesn't like to take notes, or I talk too fast, which I know is true, what you do is you save this, don't give it to them yet. Just let them enjoy the class, shout out the answers, have a great time, and then after class, have them fill it out as a quiz, right? Okay. Or you can have them rewatch it, but now they know what I'm going to say, and they can just go and take notes. Okay, and then that way they can pause it if I'm talking too fast, or if I say something and they're excited about that, but they're not watching the screen, so they missed the fill in the blank. So that works too, to rewatch it. That's true in the math program. The students that tend to perform the best are the ones that watch live, go back and rewatch if they need to the same class again, and because they already know what I'm going to say, and they can spend more time looking at the example problems and pause me so they can think about the problem. So watching it more than once is encouraged if your student needs that. I also include recommendations. So these are scientists and engineers who have made significant contributions to the field. Take this to the library, start looking at biographies. Hello, history lesson. And then these are some of my favorite books in the field that we're currently studying. So these are ones for, if you're interested in birthday presents that are books, or you just want to go check these out from the library. These are books, these are scientists. So we have reading, we have writing, and we have vocabulary. So this is very, what's the word when you mix it up with other disciplines, right? Science doesn't happen in an isolated box. It has math, it has history, it has reading, it has writing, it has lots of areas, right? Creativity, innovation, art, lots of different areas. You can cross-link these all like crazy. And so every week, you'll get one of these in the live classes. How the live classes work is I teach a new subject area every single month. So in September, it was the physics of motion. October, we took a look at light, properties of light. And then November, we did electricity and magnetism. Okay, so that was fall. So those are all physics. And then what we do is now we apply physics to the real world. So January, here I can show you a visual while we do this. January, we are going to be doing, that's not what I wanted. Stop. Here we go. Aurora's upcoming classes. How to stop somebody straight in their tracks when they're in the middle of talking is have a computer problem while they're trying to talk. There we go. Okay, so Aurora's live classes. So this month it's mechanical engineering. Next month it's civil. March it's astronomy. April is a deep dive, changes every year what we do in April. So last year it was biology, this year it's chemistry. Okay, and May is we're going to teach your kids how to fly airplanes. And we're going to do some aerospace engineering. So we will literally get in an airplane with a flight instructor, and we're going to buzz around. Your kids will get to meet Thunderbird pilots. They're going to get to meet 787 captains. Super fun. May is just like beyond, it's so much fun. Okay, so that's the rest of the year. So fall for the live classes is physics, and then spring is engineering. So we're applying physics to the real world. And that's how it's broken down. Every single week is going to have a worksheet that you can download and follow along and do their classes that way. So kids typically are grade, somebody's asking 8th grade level. I want to say 2nd, 3rd grade, all the way up through high school, attend the live classes. Live classes it's kind of sneaky. The first 15-ish minutes is for beginners, and then the rest of the class, like the next 20 to 30, is for students that are a little more advanced. So we teach in a layered way. So if your kid's more of a beginner, 15 minutes is fine. And then I'll usually say, okay, if that's enough for you, that's great. Go ahead and start your projects. And if you'd like a little bit more information, stay on. All right, so that's how that goes. If you have the Science Mastery Diamond. Okay, so the Diamond was made 15 or 18 years ago. So it has 60% of the materials you'll need for the experiments. So on Monday, I said, if you have the Diamond, pull this bag out. It has everything you need for the Earth Mover, right? So it has a lot of the hard to find stuff. The reason it's not 100% is because I'm still adding content to the science site every year. So the product isn't caught up anymore. That's the short answer. But it has it even has the batteries. It has everything you need for the lights, the lasers, the electronics, yeah. So Brian's classes are different. Brian makes his own kit. So if you're doing coding or Brian's electronics, he has his own that you need to get. Okay, the recordings to watch this, looks like the first message did not go through. I'm sorry if I'm not getting your questions, it's because there's a bunch that came through. Let's see. Oh, Jason, you asked me a question before and you answered it, but now there's not enough for me to go on. Math and science, my kids enjoy them both. Oh, I forgot what your question was. Can you restate it? I'm sorry, Jason. Okay. Thank you so much for having the calendar available to add to our own. Yes, calendars are important, especially when you have a crazy schedule like ours. So Brian's classes, you can expand that out and you'll see them here. You can also download the schedule if you want to just put them on like a paper calendar. The schedule is all here, all of Brian's dates and my dates. Again, Oliver's will be coming, just don't have them yet. When will the daily planner for 8th grade be? Actually, I'm in the middle of making it this morning. So 8th grade is halfway done and it should be done within a couple days. So yay. Okay. Let's see. Cross curriculum. That was the word. Thank you, Adrienne. Perfect. Our live classes for all grade levels. Yes, it's based on interest and ability. We try not to peg kids into little holes here, but if they're excited and interested about, say, aerospace, then you can go through the curriculum by grade level, and then when we get to the aerospace part of the program, just join us for the live part of that. So you get to pick and choose, and if that's too overwhelming, then just do the live classes and you'll be good. Your kid will do more science than they've ever done if you just do live classes. And then from there, I can say, hey, if you'd like more, this is where you go on the website. So you can do it that way too. Okay, catalog with prior classes. Okay, catalog, that was your question. So the best I can do is the archives, and so that's where you just hit class recordings. So click here for previously, you can't see, I'm sorry. Click here for previously recorded classes, and then you'll click on that and be taken to the archives. And so this is September, this is October, this is November, and then this will take you to each and every one. Yeah. And so the math program is already laid out all that way by courses. Okay, good. Does the aviation live happen every day or a certain day? So it's going to be, so two things for that question. So January, not so much because we're getting ready for the other months. But we have the classes that I teach live on Mondays. So those are half an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour. If students ask a lot of questions, we go a little longer. And then we will have field trips. And you can bet that in March, you're going to have maybe 2 field trips a week. So the field trips are scheduled individually when I can get the astronomers, when I can get the scientists and the engineers. So the ones in aviation, we have to schedule between those pilots' flights. And so that's why you may not hear about it till like 2 days before. They'll call me up and say, okay, I can do Wednesday at 10. I'm like, okay, I'll tell everybody right now. So the field trips happen as soon as I know about them, I let you know. We're going to hear from the Nobel Prize winning team that won the Nobel Prize for their work on black holes back in 2020. One of their team members is going to be talking about her work in gravity and black holes, and that's going to be one of the field trips. The other field trip in March that's coming up is the meteorite specialist, Dave. He's also going to do our solar observing session. So we have a lot of extra things that we add. And those are individually scheduled as field trips. When you have access to the live classes, you get those live. Otherwise, you just wait till afterwards and then you can watch the recordings. But you can't interact with them, which is, I think, part of the fun. Okay. Let's see, other questions. My kids loved all the flight classes. Yes, I want them all to be pilots. I want all your kids to be pilots. If I can do it on my own, I paid for 100% of it all myself. I got 5 jobs when I was 17 and I went crazy. And it was so much fun. It took me 2 years, but I got my pilot's license. And so I can tell you, my 22-year-old just got his pilot's license. So we have 3 pilots in the family. Yay! So my daughter, who's 14, she's excited, and so we're already starting to take her up. My husband is a flight instructor. I think he's been an instructor for, I'm sorry if I get this wrong, 29 years? Long time. So that's actually how we met, is that we're both pilots. So yes, yes, yes. Okay, that's fantastic. My husband is working to get in his pilot's license. They ask him questions all the time. That's fantastic. So yes, and you know, honestly, your kids could help him study, right? So you bet. Okay, how are we doing on questions? You guys can start talking if you want, or I know we're getting towards the top of the hour. We already blew by it. I want to be respectful of your time, but also make sure we've got all your questions answered. I think I got all the parenting ones done, the homeschooling ones done. Let me scroll back and see if I missed some here. So feel free to chat if you want to. Let's see. You're going to send me an email. That's great. I love it. So if you have cost questions, Bertha, that's done better offline, not in front of a group of people. So send me an email, aurora@superchargedscience.com, and my assistants can get you all the pricing information you need. Yeah, good question. Okay, let's see. And because the last time I said what a price was, I got it wrong. And it cost my team a lot of headache and hassle to unfurl it. So my job is to teach. Their job is to keep track of all the details. Other questions? Oh, what am I doing for summer and fall? You guys want to know? Okay, this is really fun. So it's unofficial. So try not to, try to keep it under your hat. I've been doing science camp for 25 years. So that's a long time. And last summer was my very last time teaching summer science camp. That's actually how Supercharged Science got started. Here, let me cut to my real face. There we go. So I was teaching, like nobody was learning on the internet 25 years ago, right? We didn't really know what the internet was. And so my husband had this idea and he's like, wouldn't it be cool if we could record you and then you could teach kids maybe you've never met before, right? Because I was limited to just the kids that were attending science camp. And I was like, oh, sure. Right? So then, wait, okay, I think my husband is on, so he can attest to this. So then what he does is, he's like, okay, so he kind of put that little idea in my head. He goes, hey, honey, I'm going to take you on a trip for summer. I'm going to the whole family's going to go. I'm like, oh, this is great. So we we go to, I think, Colorado. It was beautiful. We had a great time. But a week in, he goes, or maybe I was less, maybe 4 days in, he goes, hey, honey, I have an idea. I need you to create a summer science camp program while we're here. Like, what kind of vacation is that? So he's like, no, it'll be great. Just take your in-person camp and just write it up. It'll be really easy. Oh my, you know what I did for most of the vacation? So, we sold it, I think, for $1. I was like, I don't even think anybody's going to buy it, So we had like 800 people sign up. It was crazy in like 4 days. So that's where the science program came from. It was all these recordings that they had done in previous years, and I was editing things and writing things down. And then he's like, wow, that worked really well. How about putting your lessons online? I'm like, I don't think anybody's going to come. Anyway, so that's where the science program came from. That's why when some of the videos I look a little different, people have asked me if I have a sister. I don't. That's me 20 years ago. So we call it vintage Aurora now. So one mom wrote in and she goes, my kid noticed you look real tired in some of those videos. I said, which one? And I looked, I'm like, yeah, I just had a baby then. So big bags under the eyes. But it made it so I could be with my kids during the day, and then while they were napping, I would make videos. And anyway, you know how it goes being a working parent. You're trying to like braid everything together and still have your sanity at the end of the day. So anyway, so that's how the science program got started. And I'm in the middle of, those of you who have enjoyed the math program. Okay, so basically we knew what we were doing when we created the math program. So I'm actually working on revamping the entire science program. So it's more like the math program. So it's step by step, walks you through everything, has lesson plans. But it's so titanic. It is so huge. Like I don't know if it looks huge to you, but it is such a massive program. It's going to take a little bit of time. So that's what I'm doing for the next 3 years. Anyway, so for summer, going back, so my summer camp program, Love teaching it. We have up to 40% of the participants are from out of the area, out of state, that fly in. We've had all kinds of people all over the years. We've had movie stars join us. We've had homeschoolers. We've had people in public school, like you name it. We've had all kinds of students over the years, and it's been fantastic. And I just feel like it's time to pass the baton to my 22-year-old son who's graduating from college this year. So he has said that, so he runs his own summer camp programs. He actually just finished a camp program over winter break in robotics, and he's been running camps for I think 3 years now. And so he thought about it. He's like, Mom, you don't have to retire. He says, why don't I teach it? And I thought, you really think you want to? And he's like, yeah, it looks like fun. He goes, I think I do. So we may be teaching summer science camp, but it's going to be different because my son is going to be teaching it, and he's kind of adding his robotics components onto what we had been doing traditionally with the summer science camp program. And so he's going to take over the reins, and he's going to send out information to, if you were at our programs for the past couple of years, then you will be on the list to get that new information. So yay, right? It's always nice to see kids doing something with the things you created. So it would have been fine if he didn't, but he was interested. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. So I might come to my own camp and be an assistant. Who knows? I can go take lunch. It'll be great. So anyway, so that's the yay, right? I agree. Yay. So that's the summer plans. We will be having, I'd like to know from you, are you interested in a summer math camp? We had done that last summer just for fun. We just did a 7-day spy-themed math camp. It was a huge hit. Yeah, okay. I know. So when I told my husband like 5 years ago, I'm like, I want to teach math camp. He goes, man, what kid's going to go to that? That sounds really boring. I'm like, no, it's going to be really fun. But we never had the opportunity to do it. And so last summer I was like, hey, I'm going to do math camp. And he's like, you think anybody's going to come? I'm like, yes. So I had a great time. And yeah, we had treasure hunts and all kinds of like escape room type stuff. So I took it offline because I want to fix it. I want to make it better. So we're thinking maybe we'll do online math camp. We definitely would do online science camp this year as well. So that's summer plans. Can I ask you a couple of quick questions before you go? I know I owe you a video for how to grade your students' work. I got that. Somebody reminded me. Yes, I forgot to do that. I wrote that down on my little notepad right here. Yes, I agree. Let's see. Online summer camp is all ages. Yes, online robotics program. I am going to refer you to Ben. Ben and Joseph teach the best online robotics program, hands down. And trust me, I know. We did robots back when it was hard. There was no Arduino. There was no nothing, right? There was no Raspberry Pi. So they do the best job. And so I would look at their stuff. Just look up Ben Lipper or Joseph Lipper on YouTube. You'll find them. And they do, and get on Ben's email list. And he works with, Joseph works more with students. Ben works more with parents. Those are both my kids, by the way. And so, so helping kids get into and be able to build and be competitive is what their thing is. So, you know, anybody can buy the kit to get started with robots, but how do you actually compete and, you know, have a chance in the competitions especially if you're a rookie team? That's where they tend to help out a lot. Okay, good. Math is for all ages as well. Yeah, so it's, so making a camp that is all ages is not easy for math because you have to have some kind of math skills, but that's what we focused on last time. So all grade levels. Good questions. Brian or your son can teach coding. Brian is in the middle of a coding series. So yes, he is, he's in the middle of teaching Python right now, and he's thinking about next year he's going to do coding as well, but a different language. So, yay! I'm seeing people go, yay! So, so Brian's going to be here next year. Yes, there we go. So, he thought coding would be more popular, but it's not. He's finding electronics is more popular. So, he's going to continue teaching electronics next year, and I think he's going to do a 2 or 3 year cycle, and Python is one of the languages, and then he's going to be cycling through that. So give Brian lots of kudos and love when you see him, and encourage him, and then, yeah, he's going to be here for a while. Okay, plans for fall for Aurora. So I've been teaching live classes since COVID started, right? Well, no, I've been doing it since before then, before it was popular, but teaching every day when COVID was around. So, and then teaching every week. So it's been 5 years. And so I'm thinking about mixing things up a little bit, little variety, spice of life. And so I'm wondering how you feel about full year long subject-based courses. IE or EG, I always forget which one's which, when to use which one which, but see, that's why I'm not an English teacher. Okay, so I'm thinking a full year astronomy class. What do you think? Yeah, maybe? Okay, so that gets tricky because this would be an astronomy class that sets them up for college, but it would be open and available, I want to say middle school and up. You could attend as a younger student, but we're going to be introducing math and how to use math in a scientific field. So that's something I'm thinking about, and starting from scratch as if they know nothing, right, about astronomy, or, you know, and taking a look at how we use fractions, how we use multiplication, how we use decimals in the real world. And we do some of that in the math program, but really making a clear, consistent, year-long program out of it. That was one of them. I picked astronomy because it has so many different areas that dovetail into it. Physics of light, physics of motion, chemistry is in there. You can even do astrobiology is in there, planet detection, right? And so getting them into okay, so it would be a secular course, just so you know, because you need to be able to dovetail into what they would be teaching in college. So that's so let me know your thoughts. So the second thing is a year-long course in marine biology. Okay, so that would be a little bit different. So I would be co-teaching astronomy with Brian, co-teaching marine biology with Oliver. So we would be going in this together. So there would be labs every week, a little bit of lessons every week, and it would be subject-based. And so we wouldn't be hopping around quite as much as we're doing now with the science engineering. But I don't know. So those are my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the chat. Now's your big moment. Give me your honest opinion. No one else will even see it. Okay, oh, I see, yay! So I know so at Supercharged Science, you know, we are non-evolution, non-creation. We are based on observational science. We are training kids how to look at things, how to observe what you're seeing, and make those interpretations within your own family. So that's still going to be true, and we're going to be bringing in some high school and college level content. So, and showing you how to do science, because science isn't about what you know. It's not a bunch of facts and a laundry list to get done. That's what a lot of people think, and it's not. It's how you think. It's how you handle the things you don't know, and that's the framework that both programs are going to be based on. So that was my idea. I want to know about the T-shirt that's always behind you. Oh, my lucky shirt? You guys like my lucky shirt? So this was worn by one of my kids, and then he grew out of it, and I just couldn't part with it. So, all right, so we all have things like that, right? Okay, so it's my lucky shirt. Okay, so 18 new messages. Thank you. Full year of astronomy sounds awesome. Do you have anatomy? Yes, actually Oliver is filling out the missing concepts in the biology unit 19 anatomy course. And so that's the rest of this year. That's probably why I haven't heard from him yet. He's still designing what he's going to cover. So that's the one area we don't have teacher lessons every single week. So he's filling that out for us. So by the end of the year we will. So that's the anatomy question. Let me see. Works for us. Engineering is a year-long course that covers all the different types of engineering. Yes, we kind of do that now. I'm trying to think if there's a type of engineering we don't cover. Well, we cover the general engineering courses. We're expanding civil engineering to include materials this year, but we can't do some levels of engineering just because they're too complex, like manufacturing. You need more under your belt there. How about something with elements? My kids need to learn them, like a full year chemistry course. Wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, so I planned one out, no kidding, while I was on the airplane going to my kids' robotics tournament, and I had that idea to do a full year chemistry course. And I outlined it start to finish, and I had like 11 months, because that's just the way my brain thinks, and I was trying to squish it into 9. And I was like, wow, some of this sounds really familiar. So remember, I'm on an airplane. I didn't pay for internet. And I get home and I take my notes and I go through my program. And wouldn't you know it, I've already developed it and it's already on the website. So it's high school chemistry. So it's already on there. I just haven't done it live, but all the recordings are there. So I thought about that. And yes, you're right. And yes, it could always use improvement. So maybe I'll write that down as a possibility, but it's already mostly is there. So I'll write it down anyway. Okay. Let's see. Would they actually see the stars in the astronomy class? Yes, just like they do in March. So yeah, Brian will hook up his camera to the end of his telescope. We'll pipe that through Zoom, and then I will talk about stuff, show you where to find it on your star charts, which will look similar to this. Why is this not going up? Which will look similar to star charts like this. We'll take a look at where to find things. That's totally out of focus. I'm sorry. Oh, do you have the new one for 2025? This one's last year's. You need to get one of these for this year, for March. And then once you see where to find stuff in the night sky, then we'll swing over to the live class, and then we take requests too. Usually people request things that aren't up, so that's a little bit hard. But yes, they will be able to see the stars, absolutely, and the moon, and planets. Okay, people are needing to know how to construct buildings. Oh, like civil engineering? Yes, we're covering that next month. Yep, we're going to talk about materials. We're going to talk about strength of materials. We're talking about skyscrapers, tunnels, public works. Yep, we're doing that. Excellent. Good question. Who was that? Brooke. Yes. Natalie. Yep, we will. Constellations will be covered in astronomy in March, and in detail if we do a whole year. Marine biology is my understanding. The live classes are not direct instruction for each lesson. Are you talking about math or science, Bertha? So, and they are. They give you the concepts we're about to learn, and then the students do their experiments for science to practice it, or they do their workbook in math and their activities in math to practice what we just learned. So yes. Yes to both, I guess. What kind of microscope do you recommend? There is a page for that, Alma, but I can just tell you, do you want me to just put a link to it? This is the one we give as a prize for the science fair, when we hold science fairs. And let's see, I'll get a link to it and I'll find a cheap one. No, that doesn't sound right. Hang on. Let me not do more than one thing at once. So I will find you one at a good price. What do you call that? Economical? There we go. Don't buy a cheap one. If it comes from Walmart or Costco, it's already trash. Use it as a doorstop. Okay. You want one that is mostly metal construction, that has removable eyepieces. Here we go. Amscope, the 150 series is one I'd recommend. Here we go. Where's the chat? Okay, don't write to me for a second so this stays put. Here's a microscope. These go on sale for half off periodically. So they're $100 now. I've seen them as low as 65, so almost half off. Okay, a third off. If you're not sure your kid is really going to go for if it's a good investment, then do the second one. It's $20. It's a digital microscope, plugs into your cell phone, and it's fantastic. We use it for meteorites and rocks and geology when we do that. Oh, I'm sorry, I sent you something that's not available. But you see what it is. It's microscope slides and cover slips. Okay, there you go. All right, so and so what you want in a microscope, this one is way fancy. This is 3 times as much as you need to spend. What I do recommend is having, so this part that rotates, these should be removable. And also in the top, you should be able to pull out the eyepiece. Okay, and the objectives should be removable. And you should have a mechanical stage. Let's move it here so you can see it. This part here should be attached, or it should have screw holes so you can buy one for $20 and then screw it on. Don't use the stage clips. They'll frustrate your kids beyond belief. If your kids are having trouble looking, you can get an adapter to put your cell phone on it. And then you can stream that or cast that to wherever you need to go. You don't have to buy the $300 microscope cameras that they have. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Mine has 2 because it's a teaching head. So so in person, I would look through here, students look through here, or this is where the camera goes, and then the students can look through here. So you don't need this setup unless you're like a geek like I am. I don't know, science nerd. That's the cool part about being a science teacher. You get like all the fun gadgets. Okay, does that help? So, and it should have a coarse and a fine adjustment on the side. So it should have 2. This one, they've combined it because it's a fancy one. Usually there'll be two separate knobs. Okay. There, does that help? There you go. Oh, you guys found Ben and Joseph Lipper. Beautiful. Oh, you want to know what their YouTube channels are. Okay. I have to look up my own kids. I didn't even know my kids had YouTube channels, if that's not too funny, right? Here's Ben. Here's Ben, and he's Ben at superchargedscience.com if you want to throw him an email. And Joseph is Joseph at Supercharged Science. There we go. So he's pretty easy to find. The first one's Ben. The second one is Joseph. How's that? Ben's camp will be in person. Yes. Yeah, he teaches in-person camps every year. I would go. I would, if your kids love robotics and you're into VEX or you want to be, I would do it. Which is the course that teaches about skyscrapers and tunnels. Okay, so that happens in civil engineering. Those are both civil engineering disciplines. So building bridges, tunnels, public works. We're going to tackle that in February. Good. Where do we get the Sky Gazers Almanac? Good question. You want the direct link? So please make sure that you have, it's like the best $10 you're going to spend. Actually, I think they're less than that. I think they're only like 7. So I got the poster. I got the really big one that, let's see, this is 40 degrees north. Let me get the, here we go. Try this. Did this link come through for the Skygazer? Okay, so you get the one that's closest to your latitude. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, there's only one. Get the 30 degrees south. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you've got a couple options. The 30, 40, and 50. Just get the one that's close. It's good enough. Yeah. Don't get a planisphere. The star wheels, they're useless. The link for the star charts that are free is right here. Somebody asked about that. So there you go. All of this will be coming in an email to you, but if you want to get a leg up on it. So the star charts are free. I would get a planisphere. I'm sorry, I would not get a planisphere. So those little wheels, I don't think I have one, but oh, here, I can show you what I'm talking about. There we go. Okay, so these are free. This thing here, the thing where you rotate it, it's got too much information on it, so don't bother with that. Just download the free one here. It'll say download now on a really busy page. And these are free, so download these. They change every month. Okay, and they're created by a guy who doesn't want to talk to anybody, so he doesn't have an email, phone number, nothing. But he's been making the best star charts for the last 15 years. So, yes. All right, so how are we doing? And we're in Canada, which almanac? So I would get the 50 degree north and just grab that Sky Gazers. Yeah, so super, super cool. What month? I'm not sure when the camp is. I would ask Ben to get on his email list. He doesn't even know yet, so he'll get there soon. Other questions? Where do we get? Okay, I showed you that. Thank you for your time. Excellent. My son is in 5th grade doing live lessons. Will he take astronomy? So again, our courses are based on interest and ability more than grade or age range. So if you try it and he's thriving, keep at it. If you realize maybe it's too much information too fast, do the recordings and then break the longer recordings into like 10 or 20-minute sessions and just cater it according to what your kid needs. So yeah. Let's see. Does that help with the okay, great. Yes, so I'm gonna leave you with this thought. So 40% of homeschoolers are homeschooling for safety reasons because they're worried about their kids' safety, okay? Nothing wrong with that. That's why we have homeschooling, right? However, out of those, that percentage, over half of them really don't care what curriculum they're using. Meaning they just are, we're all worried about kids' safety, right? Of course we are. Like, we work so hard to protect you. It's like, don't go doing something silly. So like playing in the street with a kickball. All right, so that makes sense. What's surprising to me that I wanted to share with you, just kind of as a closing thought, and to say kudos to you, thank you for doing this, it means a lot to me, is a lot of those parents are pulling their kids out of school, but then they are pulling them out because they don't want their kids in public school or in a private school or whatever the school situation was, because they just don't want them there, but then they don't know what to do with them once they're home. So if you know anybody like this, please share this information with them. This might really make a difference for those kids. So what that means is they're playing not to lose, which is a choice. The other side of that coin, though, is some people are homeschooling because they feel they can provide their kids with a better education. They know that they can't just do science by reading a book and memorizing things. They know their kid's struggling with math, and so they're going to help them at the level of the kid because, you're the teacher. You can meet them where they're at, right? Okay, those parents are playing to win. Do you see the difference, playing not to lose versus playing to win? Those are going to give you two different results at the end of high school. So I would challenge you to think about ways that you are serving your kids, which, by the way, if you've lasted this long in the class, you're my kind of people. So hello, you're part of the family. So I would encourage you, all of us know people that are playing not to lose, and they are going to get a different result. And I would challenge you to share what you know about homeschooling, about parenting, about beginning with the end in mind, about being able to chunk big goals down into sizable things, about some of the stuff we talked about with motivation, meeting your kid at the level they're at, already recognizing what already is motivating to them and using that. Any one of these things can really, really make a difference to these kids. So many people, there was a funny comic meme thing about this. This mom was sharing, who was also a math teacher. She goes, you know what? When I tell people I'm a math teacher, 9 out of 10 people will say, oh, I'm not good at math. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me, right? And so that knee-jerk reaction of, oh, I'm not good at that. But then the people will go on to say, you know what? But if I had had a teacher like you, I would have loved math. Or if I had a teacher like you, I would have loved science, right? I'm seeing lots of people doing this. Yes! So there are people all around you right now, and we can help make this world a better place by whether it's you're sharing what your kids learned during my classes with people around them, and that helps your kid because now they're in the teacher role, so they learn even better. Do that. Or if you're bringing them to Supercharged Science and Math, and you're sharing Aurora Lipper with them, do that. So do something to help these kids, because otherwise it's going to be yet another one that we hear from years later, like, if I only had it, right? We already have way too many of those. So number one, thank you for caring so much about your kids that you're doing something about it. And you know that there's a better way to do this, right? That's why you're part of our science family. So number two, let's share it. So share it with others, share what you're doing with others, keep going. I'm here to tell you whatever you're doing is making a difference, and it does really matter. So take it from a teacher who recently, this is me, I started teaching when I was 21 years old at the university. And I think I shared this where I would wear 40-year-old pantsuits. I got fake glasses. I tied my hair back in a bun. I tried to appear older. Totally didn't work, by the way. But at the end of class, I would get kids who would say, I know I didn't do great in your class, but man, I learned a lot. And I had two students come up in recent years. One of them, he came up and he just like, I just have to shake your hand. And I'm like, I'm sorry, who are you? He took his hat off. He was bald. He goes, I was your student back in the university in engineering, in statistics. You failed me. I'm like, oh no, and you're bald. Oh, I'm not that old. And he's like, but I have to tell you that you were the only teacher who was honest enough to give me another chance at that same class. He goes, I learned so much from your class, but it wasn't in the textbooks. And I was like, oh, so it's like a teacher's dream, right? The second person came up, and a similar story. She's like, I gotta shake your hand. I just have to tell you that one day when you canceled exams and took us all 4 hours south to Magic Mountain, Six Flags, the roller coaster, big roller coasters. He goes, I don't remember much of college, but I remember that day. And I remember feeling like, wow, this is not what they teach in the textbooks. He goes, this is what hooked me on engineering. It wasn't the lessons they learned. I mean, how many biology high school lessons do you remember? Or, I mean, if it didn't really matter or make a difference, right? Or pick a class that you weren't really passionate about, right? So he was like, all that learning, I don't really remember a whole lot, but man, I remember you taught us how to like, I had them make like G-force and accelerometers, and I had them measuring things and measuring the speed. He's like, man, I remembered all that. And I remember feeling like I had no idea what engineering really was till we did that. So I'm like, yay! So that's what I'm talking about, playing to win. That's what you're here for. All right. I hope this has been helpful. Yeah? You're still here, so I'm not just talking to myself. Yes, so it's been wonderful to see you, Catherine and Brooke and Adrienne and Robin. Thank you guys, and Alma for being here. And thank you, Amy and April. Thank you, thank you. And so if you're wondering, Sasha's wondering, when do the coding classes start? Brian starts next week. So he's already partway through the coding classes. So his recordings are already up. Coding is unit 29 right now. Last year's coding is unit 28. And so you're welcome to take a look at that. So there's a master schedule. Just click on live classes and you'll see a schedule, and just download that for the whole year. If you have specific questions that didn't get answered, I'm sorry, send me an email and I respond. If you write me an email and you don't get an answer, something's wrong. So let me know. So hit me with email again. I mean, everybody else does. I get about 500 a day. So if I don't get back to you, I spend like 2 hours just answering emails. So if I don't answer, I'm sorry, hit me again. So do it again. Everybody else does. It's fine. It'd be great if you were nice and polite. I really appreciate those. So, let's see. What else can I share with you? Oh, there was something else I wanted to give you. What was it? It was a mom thing or a parent thing. Oh, the one-liner about how to get your kids to pick up their things. Okay, ready? Grab your pencils. This is what I did, but you got to be consistent. So if you will not follow through with this one, don't use it, because your kids will know you're not serious. Here we go. Imagine this: a tired mom at the end of a day. You look around the house, your eyes sweep over masses of toys, clothes, books, scattered everywhere, right? Okay. You take a deep breath and you smile at your kids and you say, you know what? Feel free to keep anything you clean up by 8 o'clock or by bedtime, by their bedtime. And it's got to be, before midnight. Feel free to, now notice I didn't tell them to pick anything up. Feel free to keep anything that you put away. Pick up and put away. And that's it. And you go to bed. Now get up before they do, by the way. Get a big old black trash bag. Just throw it all in. Zip it up. Now, for me, it went straight into the pile for Goodwill. Now, if that's not you, put it somewhere else. Okay? Now, the next morning, what happens? Where's all my stuff? Right? Of course. Any kid worth their salt is going to throw a fit, so expect that. I tell you, kids have never worked so hard for a pair of socks before than you've ever seen. I got my car washed. I got the trash taken out. I'm like, yep, you can earn that back. It's going to cost you A, B, and C. I want the yard raked. I want this done. That's going to put energy back into me. And yeah, you could pick 3 things from the bag. There you go. So, and yeah, they lost quite a few things, but that's how they knew I was serious. And so that's all you say. And you don't say, I told you so. You don't make them feel bad. Don't make them feel guilty. Just let them know the conditions. Just pretend it's like the work environment, right? Just tell them this is what you need to do. And let me know if you're interested. If you're not, it's fine. Goes to Goodwill at the end of the month. No problem. They have too much stuff anyway, right? So there you go. And I knew it was working because one time my kids did it to me. I kid you not. I was working on a project, didn't put it away. The next morning, my kids said, hey, Mom, I cleaned up for you. How would you like to earn it back? I'm like, wait a minute. And they're like, Mom, I need help with my homework. I need you to take me to soccer. But if you talk to my kids now, Ben and Joseph specifically, because they're out of the house, and you ask them what are the most important things we did, it was that type of thing. They're like, Joseph will say, I don't like you very much right now, but the only person I'm mad at is myself. And it's just gold. It's pure gold you're giving them, opportunities to learn. So I would encourage you to do that. Wow, we went way over time. Okay, so it was a good one, don't you think? It's been a while since we've done one of these. You love the parent chats. We should just do one just based on one-liners, right? So I used to keep my parenting books in the bathroom. And anytime they would leave me speechless, I'd be like, I have to use the bathroom. And I would close the door and I'd go look it up. And, it'd take 5 or 10 minutes and I'd close it. And then I'd come out and I'd be like, okay, I'm sorry, what just happened again? It was one of my mom tricks. Okay, we need to wrap things up. You need to get going with your day. Know that I'm on your side. I'm here when you need me. And yeah, always shoot me an email if you'd like. If you have anybody that you would like to share us with, please do. That way I can spend most of my time on teaching your kids rather than making more marketing videos, which I don't think anybody needs in any arena ever. So I really, really, truly appreciate that. So thank you. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.